Welcome aboard, and thank you for tuning in to the Heavy Metal Truckers, where we give our thoughts and perspectives on all things heavy, even if you don't like it. We're mostly your hosts. Frosty will be brought into this later to give his perspective. However, in this video, we are doing our album review on the latest release from Lord of the Lost, Opus Noir.
Noir, Volume
something.
2.
Yeah, Volume 2. Oh, was it just Opus Noir?
Oh, yeah, Opus Noir, Volume 2.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking about Behemoth's, one of Behemoth's recent albums, Opus Contra, whatever, so my bad. They're two separate groups, I know, but they're still Opus. Don't get a lot of albums with that name.
Yeah.
Anyways, should we, well, okay, yeah, we'll just...
Yeah, I know what you're about to ask, so
Okay, yeah, real quick.
We had the same exact idea without knowing we had the same exact idea. Yeah. We both, unknowingly of each other, went and listened to Volume 1 of Opus Noir.
And we're serious. We never spoke about this or planned it. Nothing. We're just
Nope. And I did it because before we were going to do this album, we'd only heard 2 songs from them. We'd only heard those 2 songs, so I wanted to get a better idea of their sound, for one.
Yeah.
And 2, I wanted to get a better idea of what I was going to be in store for the second album, so felt like I wasn't going in as blind.
Yeah.
Especially considering this is a continuation of that album.
Precisely.
Basically. So that was my reasoning for listening to it.
I had the same exact.
Now, I'm not going to go in and do a full review of that album, but I am going to say what I thought of it.
Yeah, brief synopsis.
Yeah. The first half of that album was absolutely phenomenal. I loved, I'm sitting there thinking, they've made a fan in me. And we mentioned it when we just watched the music video. We had mentioned it in the previous song about how there's not really many bands doing the sound that they're doing or doing the style of music they're doing.
Anymore.
At least in the way they're doing it. Yeah, anymore. At least the way they're doing it. And, the first part of that album was just incredible. I was sitting there thinking, even though we weren't doing a review on it, if it continued the way it was going, I would have had an album of the year contender. I would have had to rethink my top 3. Now, the second half of that album, it dropped off a little bit. I still enjoyed it. It was still good, but it wasn't quite on the level as the first half of that album.
Would you maybe say it kind of just stagnated a little bit? Not necessarily dropped, but maybe stagnated?
Maybe, yeah, it might be a good way to put it.
Maybe that was for me. For me, it kind of stagnated.
Yeah, it was still good, but it wasn't on the level of the beginning of that album.
Yeah.
So still overall, that was a fantastic album.
Oh my God, yes.
But since it stagnated or, dropped off a little bit, it didn't get to the truly great album level, but it was still a fantastic album. So the second album, my nephew.
So how'd you discover Lord of the Lost?
On this channel, sort of on it. It was because of With Indentation when they did their collab, which was on Volume 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first time. So literally, a month ago or a month and a half, whatever, we filmed that video. I guess it was actually longer than that.
Oh, shit, yeah, it
was.
was. Yeah.
That's a little bit. But anyway, so that's how we discovered him. And thank you With Invitation for doing that, because otherwise we wouldn't have found these guys. But the second album, you actually brought it up again on the last video when we listened to the Infected Rain one, which is on this album. They have the whole album had this strong late 90s to mid 2000s vibe, like this, hard rock metal vibe to it, and I loved it. And absolutely loved it. And the atmosphere, the gothic feel to it, which I love anything with a gothic sound. So that's why I became a Temptation fan.
Yeah.
And these guys hit it. They're not always heavy, like super heavy. Like in general, I wouldn't call them a super heavy band.
No, they're just dark.
Yes, they come across as heavier than they are because of the style of music it is. Because in reality, they're probably a band that almost teeters on that hard rock metal line.
They do.
But because of their sound, it pushes them more into the metal feel. I really enjoy his vocals. I think both his clean and uncleans are fantastic. And his vocals add to that atmosphere. They fit it perfectly.
Honestly, I think his cleans way better than his screams, but still, or his.
Well, he does cleans far more than he does the uncleans.
He does, but I mean,
they're still good.
Yeah, his uncleans are still solid.
But his vocals, especially his cleans, they fit the sound perfectly of what they're doing.
Take these off.
I found, like we already talked about, Would You Walk With Me Through Hell? Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it, loved everything about it. I thought the sound was good. The Fall from Grace was actually, for me, one of the weaker tracks on the song, the opening song, but it was still a solid opener. It wasn't a bad song by any means. It wasn't the weakest song on that track. I'll get to that one eventually for me. But it wasn't a bad song, but it was a solid opener. The song I found most interesting on this album, though, was Raveyard with that other group. I don't remember their name of that group. Probably couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, Lore of the Lost, not Lord of the Lost.
Yeah, Lord of the Lost. And the Raveyard with that other group I don't know, start with a K.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Karija. That's all. I'm just gonna say it like that because
we'll go with that. That song was interesting. Musically, I really enjoyed that song. But when you consider what their sound was, it took me a minute to really vibe with the other dude's vocals, like the almost hip-hop-y rap style. So I'm like,
similar to Bloody Wood.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. And I'm like, because it contradicts the whole sound the band has. It's this weird contrast. But the more I listened to it, it almost fit in a really weird way.
The best, because I was considering that as well, and my only thoughts is, and it's funny how it played out in my head. I showed this to an old timer, and they're just going, and there's someone goes, "So what'd you think?" They're like, "It's something."
Something, yeah.
That would be my best description for it.
Then we got to What We've Become, or whatever it was called. What Have We Become? That was probably my favorite song on the album. The guy that they had come and do the guest vocals were like the polar opposite of him. And I actually, that was one of the things I loved the most about the song, was that contrast between this guy's almost like power metal style vocals, with a higher, more drawn out vocals, to his vocals.
Yeah.
I don't know the lead singer of Lord of the Lost his name, but that dude.
Chris. I think his name is Chris, actually, because I looked into it.
Chris? Okay. I really liked how their vocals contrasted on this song. It worked really well for me. I liked the feel of the song. I liked the chorus of the song. And it actually, well, like I said, it was probably my favorite on the album. Starlight was all right. It almost felt more like a filler for me, but it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my least favorite song on the album was actually the last one, Sharp Edges. And the reason for that is the chorus felt weird to me. Just the way that they structured it, the way they did it, it felt odd every time it came up.
Yeah.
For me. Somebody might be completely disagree with me. Musically, the song was fine. But the chorus, I don't know, it felt weird, it felt off to me, the way they did it. But as a whole, I still really enjoyed this album. It wasn't quite on the level of the first one. Volume 1 was a better album to me. But this was still a very, very good album. And I'm curious to see what Volume 3 will sound like, because I do know there's going to be a Volume 3.
Oh, is there?
Yes. This was planned from the beginning as a trilogy album.
God, you don't get those anymore. That's amazing.
No, you don't. So I don't know when it's coming. I know these were only like 4, 5, 6 months apart, so maybe the same thing for the next one. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll be really curious, because I mean, the last album and this album, like, they fit together really well. They flowed really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think the next one won't be any different.
Yeah.
Now for scores for this album, I would probably give it 4 out of 5, and out of 10, so you can kind of verify it or compare it, probably a 7.75 to an 8.
I gotcha. So, of course, I listened to Volume 1 as well, and was very intrigued by it. Again, the first half was just absolutely incredible. I enjoyed it, but it didn't... I greatly enjoyed it. It wasn't in the sense that it necessarily blew me away, but it was really good. And again, I gotta contrast that with most of the stuff out these days. Like sonically, it was just absolutely amazing. But overall, I did enjoy the album. But my discovery of Lord of the Lost was basically the same exact time Doppler's was whenever we heard them with Within Temptation. And at first, I was kind of intrigued by the guy's vocals because they were amazing. But then whenever I saw that he came from a group called Lord of the Lost, I'm like, oh, great, it's another one of those random alternative groups that's only going to last for like 3 years, and then no one's going to know about them again. Just has that name and has that kind of feel like persona to it. So I just had preconceived notions in that regard. Until we really dug in and listened to Lord of the Lost and their 2 singles, and I'm like, oh, they've got something here. Okay, so scratch everything I said before. And upon listening to Volume 1, I thought very intriguing, and I'm like, I cannot wait for Volume 2 because I'm really, really curious as to how that would go. I listened to this one a bit differently than I do most albums, just because most albums I'd be doing whatever, listening to it in my car while I'm out running errands, whatever. But this time I was just at home here, just playing a game and listening along to it. Which I don't know if that hurt hurt it
Felt.
or hurt me by listening to it that way, because holy shit did this album have the most magnificent flow I've ever heard. Like,
I will agree with that. Like, it did flow really well.
like you can easily tell one track from the next, the variation between it, but the way it was choreographed and composed, it's like you could have, like, this could have been a whole play, and it could have been like act 1, scene 2, scene 3, and that kind of setup. So it was phenomenal in that regard. And Fall from Grace was, whenever I first heard it, I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be an amazing album. And then it went on, and again, I'm just listening, and it did kind of, like, it had its rise up, and then it kind of peaked off a little bit and didn't really go like much more exorbitant than that, but it was still amazing for what it was. And I'm just sitting here listening to it, the atmosphere of everything, and I'm just like, wow, they brought old school, well, for us, old school, hard, heavy rock, borderlining into metal, just because of how intense it is, with gothic metal of like the early millennia. And I'm like,
and you know, I it's interesting because I would say that was even more true with the Volume 2 than it was Volume 1 in terms of that older feel.
It was, and for that reason, I felt I enjoyed Volume 2 way vastly more than Volume 1. Like, Volume 1 was an amazing introduction for me. Volume 2 was, this is Lord of the Lost. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is incredible. Like, to think that there are still groups out there and still musicians out there that can put out this kind of work was unfathomable to me. And it's mainly because of everything that we've had released within the last several years. It's been a bunch of content consumption garbage, in my opinion. Like, yes, there have been some outstanding albums, but are you going to remember them in the next 5 years? Fuck if I know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're facing. Because, I mean, like you mentioned, like with some of Lacuna Coil. Lacuna Coil, their older stuff, phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Karma Code, Comalies, just, there's tracks on that album that most people into the alternative scene, into the gothic metal scene, they're gonna remember it because it was written so fucking well. And they took that formula and placed it into this. And it had been so long since I've heard something like that. It gave me a little hope for the future of metal. And even more so, it gave me, I kind of said to myself, if this is modern gothic metal, this is being done beautifully, and I absolutely love it, with the exception of, I don't remember which track it is. Actually, it might have been on Volume 1 that I had it. I don't remember anymore. Yeah, it was on Volume 1. It started off with some kind of trap thing, and I'm like, okay, they lost me. And then it went, but then it stopped and never did it again. I'm like, okay, this is tolerable. And so, yeah, when it comes to Volume 2, this was amazing for what it was whenever I was listening to it, and it just floated beautifully. I mean, I could tell there were some guest vocals in it. Now, here's the thing, the reason I don't mind many guest vocals within this genre is that gothic metal, like the industrial vibe, the industrial aspects that they've included into their work.
Yeah, I was wondering because I almost mentioned that along with the guy, there was definitely industrial vibes, and not all the songs, but in several of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of the time there were aspects of industrial thrown in, and because of that, industrial is one of those genres that it is so common and expected to have many collaborations throughout the album, just because that's how the culture of that genre works. And so for them to have like 4 collaborations in here, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't caught off guard. And they did it in a way that worked, and it wasn't, let's experiment and hope to God this doesn't fail. It's, they knew it would work. Like, they wrote it, they knew it would work, and they're like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And I couldn't have agreed more, especially with, like you said, Graveyard. I was listening to it going, what the fuck is Intrude?
Yeah. That's exactly what it was. And you're like, but why do I like this?
I'm just like, I don't want to like it, but
yeah.
like, it, like I said, it worked.
It's one of those things that you wouldn't think it worked, but it actually worked.
Yeah, and it just, wow. And then with IMX, I was very thrown off by it, but I'm like, God damn, another one that works. And I'm like, this is weird but interesting at the same time, and I can't fault for it. And by the end of this album, like, the sharp edges had come on, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this is definitely a closer. Not to be disrespectful, but it's like, it was definitely the weakest track on this album. But I guess in this point of view, I can say this: am overall, am I becoming a fan of Lord of the Lost? Absolutely. Like, they
I agree.
Astounding musicians. They are bringing back something that has been lost it's realistically, it's been years, but feels like decades to us. And they are making it work. They're cutting through a lot of the BS that we're hearing in most modern metal. And they're not afraid to push the limits of what I'm saying. Whenever I say pushing the limits, most groups want to push the limit as in just be obscure, try various things, and just, if it doesn't work, who cares? We're going to do it anyway, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. They are pushing the limits of what is known for the mainstream, and they're going backwards. And so it seems like a lot of people are afraid to go back like almost 20 years ago and bring some of that older, heavier aspect back, that gothic influence back, and some of that 90s influence back. They are doing that, and they are just like presenting it as, this is us, and if you don't care for it, that's fine, fuck you. And goddamn, Chris's vocals are just to die for. Like, it's been so long since I have heard vocals sound like that. Just dark, not gloomy, but dark, and just almost Blade Runner vibes.
Well, like I said, it literally fits their music perfectly.
Exactly. So, all that being said, if it made any kind of sense to someone, is that this album was fantastic, and I will give it no less than a 4 out of 5, because my God, could I see myself owning this record. Obviously there's
I say that because, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, go ahead. I was going to go on.
I was going to say, it was interesting you said that, because, you know, a lot of times we review albums on here, I'm like, it was good, but I probably won't listen to it again. This is, both these albums, Volume 1 and Volume 2, are albums that I not only could see, but probably will listen to it again.
Oh, absolutely. And again, it's not like I'm going to listen to it on repeat like I do with some of my other favorite groups, but it's like, can I listen to it like once a week, once every 2 weeks? Absolutely. Like, it was just that good. Yeah, guys, thank you for this. We'll get on to
Can't wait for Volume 3.
Can't wait for Volume 3. We'll get Frosty. Alrighty, so we are here with Frosty, and we're going to get his perspective on the album Lord of the Lost, Opus Noir, Volume 2.
Okay, so as per usual on this channel, I I was introduced to Lord of the Lost actually this year. Not with this album, but with this year. We had listened
Same
to
here.
we had listened to a single that they had put out
Within
within
Temptation.
Temptation.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly uh, what the track name was, but that was how I was introduced to Lord of the Lost.
Something about light and darkness, something.
Something or other, that thing with the name.
Exactly.
But that was how I was introduced to Lord of the Lost. Then we listened to Bizarre,
Yeah.
something or other. And it was interesting. So
That was a damn good track.
yeah, it was definitely interesting. There were points of it that I wish could have changed a little bit because it was a little
Yeah.
bit repetitive when the chorus came around. Other than that, I mean, decent track. So then we get into this album. Now, the other two have stated in the group chat whether or not they stated it in this video. I couldn't know because I was, for all intents and purposes, passed out, dead asleep, tired as all hell. Um, but they had stated that they went and listened to the other track or the other album
Yes,
that had come out before this.
Volume 1.
Yeah, they had listened to Volume 1. I, on the other hand, did not because
Because you suck.
I already have plenty of I already get plenty of homework as it is. I get more homework on this channel than these two. So, which I mean, I don't mind, but I get extremely wrapped up and busy and like
Oh, yeah.
goings on of the job and all that, and then all the extra albums that I get to listen to, extra tracks that I get to listen to. So I did not listen to that album. However, I listened to this one. It definitely seemed like it was within my genre of listening. There were some tracks that felt a little bit drawn on to me. There were some that I wish there was more of, but I mean, all in all, the album itself seemed to flow pretty decently to me. I had my problems it with some of the vocals. I had my problems mostly with the vocals more than anything else. I think that's where a lot of my problems will
Intriguing.
tend to arise when it come to albums. Um, I caught some sort of aspects of familiarity with or similarity to another another group, and for the life of me I cannot begin to figure out what group they reminded me of, but I feel like I've heard the sound or at least the vocals from another group.
Well, I mean, we've said
Now,
before, Chris, the vocalist, his vocals are reminiscent, at least to me, of Gothminister.
that would probably be where it is. Um, yeah, now that I'm listening back to it in my head, that makes sense. Gothminster definitely makes sense to me. But yeah, no, I mean, so there were the familiarities, there were similarities. I did have problems, mind you, very few problems with the way some of the vocals sounded. However, all in all, it was a pretty well put together album. It flowed pretty well to me. If I had to give this one a rating, which we have to, uh, I'd probably give it like a solid like 3.5. It's not like the most on point.
Now,
but
is this going along the out of 5 scale?
out of 5, yes, out of 5.
Okay.
Um, 3.5 out of 5. Uh, I, it wasn't the most on point like Epic, where I'd say like 4.5, but at the same time, it had a lot of aspects that I truly enjoyed within the album. So I think a solid 3.5 is a fair rating out of 5.
Gotcha.
And as per what Doppler has been doing, I don't know if he did it with this one or not,
He
but
did.
I figured. I love how you know what I'm about to do. But as per like what our original rating scale would have been, this was to me like a good 7.5. So my 3.5 is roughly about a 7.5.
Pretty on par with pretty much what he said. Although both of us actually gave this a 4 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah, no. The reason being,
Maybe it was the vocals for me.
The reason being is, for one thing, I adored the vocals. I love Chris's vocals. He has done absolutely amazing in this. It's so rare these days that you get a bare, almost like just a lowish tenor vocal, especially within this kind of ordeal. And he does it just so damn well. And a lot of what we enjoyed about this was it brought back a lot of the 90s and early millennia of gothic metal.
I absolutely caught on to that as well.
Yeah, and we haven't heard this kind of thing in so long, to the point that the closest thing that was resemblance of this was old Lacuna Coil. And
yeah.
And for him, like Older Within Temptation and whatnot. And it's something that we have sincerely missed.
Well, I think the reason why I had problems with the vocals, I don't necessarily think it was Chris that I had a problem with. I don't even think it was the female vocals.
There were 4 collaborations on this album.
Right. I think it mostly had to do with the other collabs and then some of the harsher vocals on the track.
Let me look up the track listing now, because there was one artist where it's like, you didn't know exactly what to think, but it wasn't bad by any means. It just kind of threw you for a loop.
I think I know exactly what track you're talking about. Whether or not I can tell you the name of the track.
It's the one that we both felt. It was Raveyard with Carija. I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced. I really don't know, but
that definitely sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I think that was the one that I looked at and was like,
that was the one.
Something could have been a little different.
We didn't know what the hell to think, but we're like, we can't stop listening to it because it's so good in its own way.
If that's the one I think it really was, then yeah, no. I mean, it had fun when it was just Lord of the Lost, but I think when whoever the collab was with, whatever the name was, I think that's the moment where I'm like,
because it was in that kind of collaboration, it was reminiscent of whenever Baby Metal did their thing with Bloody Wood.
That might have been probably what it was. I don't know what it is. It's just I feel like what they should have done was what Sabaton did on their album, where they had done the collab as the single that was released, but on the album take away the collab and do it as themselves throughout the whole song. You know?
Well, part of the reason I'm glad they did not is because Lord of the Lost is modern gothic metal, and if this is, and I mentioned this whenever I was speaking with Doppler about this. If this is the direction modern goth metal is going, then I am loving every minute of it, because finally something is.
I'll agree to that.
Finally, something is getting back to some reminiscent of the old school aspects, and there was a great deal of industrial elements within this, and because they blended.
Yeah, I did catch.
Because of the blend of gothic and industrial, within that genre, especially within the industrial scene, it's hard to come across something EP or an album where there's no collaborations, or like very few, like almost half the album will be collaboration, but that's because just the artist was able to work so closely with another, and they worked seemingly well together and like seamlessly. And so this
Well, I mean,
part of,
that.
yeah.
Well, see, because like the whole the whole year we've been listening to albums and singles that I feel like half the year, if not like a third of the year, has been mostly collabs. And though collabs are a lot of fun, after a while you kind of just want to listen just to a straight the straight band that originally came out with a song or something. And it's
Well,
like
part of this is,
my tire of the collabs.
you know, part of this is a part. Majority of the problem that I see with it is it's using it to fulfill the whole Spotify culture of, I just want to listen to one thing or one track here and there, and we're going to make something interesting on ourselves, but we're also going to collaborate and have something that's interesting just for a one-off here or there, because that's the way people listen to stuff these days. No, like, it's rare. It's becoming rarer that anything is listened to within the perspective of an album, which is impressive in itself, because as far as we were concerned, this album flowed extremely well. Like, it
Oh no, it definitely flows.
it had a fantastic opening, and it continued to just be such a fucking cohesive piece in its entirety. And even like one of the best collaborations I think we heard on the record was with them and Infected Rain. That was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. That one was a pretty decent one.
The only one that neither of us were the biggest fans of, which what definitely wasn't bad, but we weren't the biggest fans of, just as to say it's like the weakest track, was the last one, Sharp Edges.
Yeah, I felt like as the album progressed, even though the whole entirety of it flowed, felt like the last like two, the last two tracks, it felt like it was just almost like they were thrown in rather than like.
Yeah, Doppler had stated that it felt like halfway through the album, it had reached a peak and then it just kind of stagnated out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like just a straight drop either. It was like gradually declining downwards from where they hit their peak and everything. So yeah, by the last two tracks, it was like, all right, is the album over with yet?
So there's all your volume 3 in production and planning, because this was planned out to be 3 volumes of one collaborative piece. And volume 1 was released either last year or like 6 months ago. So the fact that they put this out on top of it, and it's still, it doesn't feel like it was just run through a mill of let's get something out. It actually has performed as well as it has, is very surprising to me. I don't know how long this trilogy was in the works or planned out. I don't know any of that, but
Oh, I mean, with the knowledge that this is a 3-volume thing, and this is just the middle of the whole portrayal. This one didn't necessarily feel like it was in the middle. It felt like it was a separate entity almost.
Well, it definitely did feel like a continuation of Volume 1, but
well, granted, I also did Volume 1.
You're going to have to listen to Volume 1, and Volume 2 I think was actually a little bit better, but it's still phenomenal. Yeah, I definitely think it was a fantastic delivery, and I want them to get better and progress into what they're doing, because they have a lot to offer.
Yep. I mean, with the knowledge that this is just the second part, and there's still one more to come, I'm actually thoroughly intrigued to see what's going to come about from the third one.
Are we
I'll
going to
definitely go
have
and
a
check the
magnum
first one.
opus?
Yeah, that would be intriguing.
But, alright, guys, well, that was Frosty's perspective on the latest album from Lord of the Lost, Opus Noir, Volume 2. So, yeah, here's the ending. And thank you for watching. If you have any opposition, please fight us in the comments. Until next time, whether musically, lyrically, or literally, keep rolling heavy, if I can talk.